Hello, everybody. Alrighty then. Well, welcome to the Mikestand, everybody. Happy Monday to everybody. Start of the week here. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Hope you guys caught some of the show last night. Um, so we're gonna, of course, give people a chance to come in. So we're gonna, before we get started, as a friendly reminder, of course, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. We'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. So, anyways, let me just. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Do 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 do. Gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere. Find adventure that's beyond compare. They are the gummy bears. They are the gummy bears. Let's see. Guess who? Ah, ah, ah. Do 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 do. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm strong to the finish when I eat my spinach. Popeye the Sailor Man. Let's see. What else? Casper, the friendly ghost, the friendliest ghost you know. He dances and plays, he can dance all day. Friendliest ghost you see. Hey, Rick. There we go. Hey, how you doing? Thanks for popping in, my friend. All right. Well, now of course we got some people in here now. So I'll go over what's on tap for tonight. So tonight, of course, what we're going to do is we're actually going to go over four articles. One from Bounding into Comics, the other, no problem. Okay, the other three from Bleeding Fool. Of course, the three Bleeding Fool ones, all from our favorite journalist to critique, Avi Green. So the first article, though, we're going to go over is from Bounding into Comics, in which we're going to talk about the upcoming New York Comic Con, in which Hiro Mashima, who is the creator of Fairy Tail, will be the headliner on Crunchyroll's stacked lineup. Also, we got a couple of Marvel comic stories coming out where Tim Shealy's reminding everybody why everybody liked Rogue so much, as well as talking about the new Avengers, the quote unquote first woke comic ever. And then we also got another article in which the guys behind Beetlejuice will be doing an adaptation of the comic book Ice Cream Man. Of course, Avi's got quite a bit to say about all those. So, a chill stream tonight. I guess he's asking you that, Rick. All right, so without any further ado, why don't we get started? And of course, as always, feel free to comment and or ask questions if anything we talk about grabs your attention. So let me go get the first article we're going to look at here tonight. All right, then. So here we go. Let me just do one little quick thing here. All right, so here we go. All right, Okay, I did share that. Fairy Tail creator Hiro Mashima headlined Crunchyroll stocked New York Comic Con lineup. Article by Nerdigans Inc. published back on the 20th, which of course was last Friday. And there's, I guess, a updated version of Lucy Heartfilia of the Fairy Tail Guild. Yeah. Let's see. Lucy receives an apology from Natsu in the Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest in 1 episode 7. All's well. It ends well. All right. So, during this year's New York Comic Con, Crunchyroll is bringing fans everything from sneak peeks of their upcoming releases, free swag, and an appearance from Fairy Tail mangaka Hiro Mashima. Hiro Mashima, of course, has done Fairy Tail. I think he was also involved with Eden Zero as well. Per the event's official schedule, Crunchyroll will kick off New York Comic Con at 11:30 a.m. Eastern on October 18th, with their aptly named quote in small quote spotlight on Hiro Mashima, creator of Fairy Tail panel. Held in honor of his Eden Zero manga recently coming to an end, and the start of the anime adaptation of Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest. The once-in-a-lifetime panel will see the esteemed Dead Rock and Rave Master mangaka discussing and reflecting on his over 2 decades long manga career. There's kind of a print version of the picture of them all. Later that night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, the streaming platform will host their, in smaller quotes, Crunchyroll industry panel, wherein they will detail the various anime releases they have planned for the upcoming year. So they're basically going to show you what they have set for the upcoming year here. So, anyways, as we continue on here, and while the full breadth of their preview lineup stands to be revealed during the actual panel, Crunchyroll has confirmed that it will include the world premiere of a new trailer for Mappa's upcoming original series, Zenshu. Quote, after graduating from high school, Natsuko Hirose, who is voiced in the Japanese by Anna Nagase, who voiced Yoki in "'Tis Time for Torture," okay, and Princess, starts her career as an animator, reads Zenshu's synopsis. Quote, her talent quickly flourishes and she makes her debut as a director in no time. Her first anime becomes a massive hit, sparking a special phenomenon and earning her recognition as an up-and-coming genius artist. Her next project is set to be a romantic comedy movie themed around first love. However, having never been in love herself, Natsuko struggles to understand the concept of first love, and as a result, she's unable to create the storyboard, causing the movie production to come to a standstill. Unquote. Yeah, sometimes that's the problem with geniuses, right? Sometimes, while they may excel in one area, they lose something in others. Anyways, getting back to the article here. if you guys haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and/or ask questions. I'll try to answer questions to the best of my ability. So then, at 10:45 a.m. Eastern time the next day, a Crunchyroll will host, beginning after the end, author Turtle Me for a special panel for a special panel wherein they will provide insight into the creative process behind their series. I guess Turtle Me is the name of the artist. Uh, Notably, the panel's official schedule listing invites attendees to, quote, stick around for a special surprise, unquote. There's a bit of the trailer there. And finally, at 12:45 p.m., Crunchyroll will close out their New York Comic Con offerings with an exclusive preview of the fourth Overlord movie, the Sacred Kingdom, ahead of its November 8th release date. In addition, Overlord director Naoyuki Ito and Madhouse producer Kentaro Hashimoto will be in attendance to give a behind-the-scenes look into the anime's production. And of course, throughout the entirety of the con, attendees can visit Crunchyroll's booth, number 1643, to acquire free swag and purchase merch, including New York Comic Con exclusive One Piece and Mobile Suit Gundam fig pins, and even challenge the Cardanon Temple in an immersive 360-degree solo leveling experience. Oh, there we go with that one. I'm expecting the articles to more or less be fairly short tonight. That's why I have so many planned, 4 of them. But also, there we go with that one. Let's get ready to move on to the next article. As always, of course, feel free to comment and or ask questions. We'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So let's go on to those Avi articles now. We're talking about here. Let's give them something to talk about. Something to talk about. Let's give them something to figure out. Anyways. All right, so we're going to go over 3 articles here, all from, okay, we're now on the second of the 4th article we're covering. With that, let's get into this next article here. Tim Seeley reminds longtime X-Men fans why we still love Rogue. Article by Avi Green, published back on September 21st, 2024, which was this past Saturday. Rogue in the Savage Land. There she is, guys. You can look, but be careful not to touch. Polygon announced writer Tim Seeley's produced a miniseries that's supposed to explore Rogue and Magneto's time together in the Savage Land, which originally took place in Uncanny X-Men number 274 from around 1991. And now we're going into the article here, the article from Polygon. If you're an X-Men 97 fan who wasn't just surprised by the revelation that Rogue and Magneto have history, but also instantly wanted to know more, Marvel has just the comic for you. Rogue, the Savage Land, a retro limited series from a great team of modern creators, will dive back into the 1990 story arc that first took two very different X-Men characters and strung a wire of sexual tension between them. Whoa! Never would have thought of that. Rogue and Magneto as a potential couple. Whoa! That's a very interesting concept. In 1991's Uncanny X-Men number 274, Rogue found herself almost powerless and stranded in the Savage Land, Marvel Comics' own land of the Lost Style, Antarctic oasis. How did she find herself there? Don't worry about it. What did she find when she got there? An alliance with an amorous Magneto, and the scantily clad Kazar, Marvel's own Tarzan analog, and off-played Marvel Snap card, in parentheses there, that last part, against the evil sorceress Zaladane. Rogue and Magneto's romance was never truly to be after he executed Zaladane, a level of villainy Rogue just did not vibe with anymore. But that hasn't stopped later writers from calling back to the attraction they once briefly shared. Wonder how Gambit would feel knowing that he'd actually have to potentially compete with Magneto. That'd be an interesting exchange right there. See if you guys are saying anything about it thus far. I don't know if you guys had read that. I didn't. So. Cool. I take the chance and touch if she'd let me. I only know they had a history from Age of Apocalypse storyline. Okay. Anyways, getting back to the article here. Yeah. So back to Avi here. You know, if what Magneto did was wrong and it's kept in canon, doesn't that sour the milk for retrospectives? Of course, if killing. Well, what we all know, though, is that usually just because you may part ways and you may not necessarily agree doesn't mean you can't necessarily be attracted to somebody, in that sense. So, I mean, of course, if killing the evil sorceress was a bad idea writing-wise, then maybe it'd be better to jettison it from canon. I've noted before that just like in the DCU, if there's bad storylines in the MCU, they need to be expunged. Then maybe it'd be for the best to do so. And then, and this is obviously expressing his opinion, and then, if like the various male criminals, including those seen in The Punisher, the sorceress was so awful and Mags was acting in self-defense, and maybe his act shouldn't be looked upon as total villainy, even if it's not above scrutiny and evaluation. Of course, this is exactly why the storyline from the mid-90s, where Gambit was quote-unquote established as having unwittingly led Mr. Sinister to the Morlock lair and enabled the villain to slaughter the community there, should definitely be expunged from any continuity. Unfortunately, but unsurprisingly, no objective view is taken on such issues by the columnist. I guess another cover from the series. At least in this story, they're saying that she's powerless. So Rick, it may not be quite as dangerous to touch her. If she's powerless or practically powerless. Who said killing that sorceress was a bad idea? Well, I think what Avi may be getting at is that maybe Rogue is trying to really take the pure high ground there, and saying that under any circumstances, even doing so to such a nasty villain, killing is wrong no matter who it is. It's probably where he's going with that. If I had to guess. The article, interestingly enough, says for Rogue, the Savage Land writer Tim Seeley, also has been involved with Nightwing and Shatterstar, a chance to go back to Rogue's time in the Savage Land was quote unquote a dream job and probably the absolute perfect Marvel gig for me, unquote, he told Polygon via email. Quote, in these 5 issues, I get to utilize my love for 80s X-Men, Jim Lee, Chris Claremont, Zabu, scantily clad heroines and heroes, and probably most importantly, dinosaurs. Apparently, I inadvertently spit on my screen here. Oh boy. Anyways, we're quote, we're going to deliver something fresh, unquote, Seeley promised. Quote, while honoring the impossibly sexy and epic classic tale of young Rogue and 2 of the weirdest allies a girl from Mississippi could ask for, Magneto and Kazar. Oh, talk about an interesting threesome there, to say the least. Going back to Avi now, of course. Good night. Hey, good night, Spoon. Hi, good night, Spoon. Touch what? Third floor. Huh. Hmm. See, so here's Avi again. While I can't bring myself to buy modern Marvel based on how abominable it's become since Joe Quesada was in charge, and then CB Sobolski's done little to prove the situation, I do appreciate Seeley's willingness to respect the idea of writing Rogue as a sex symbol. Faithful Polygon readers provided their usual feedback with standard responses in the comment section. Grey Falcon 1, disgusting, objectifying, abusing Rogue yet again. The white male writers working on X-Men need therapy. John Claude 321, Concord could learn something here. Brock Johns. I know, right? If only real women looked like that. If real women don't want this BS. Oh boy. But okay, so now back to Avi here. But the way Marvel keeps milking dry their creations in a modern sense is ruining everything. Oh boy, that's a very interesting way to put it. milking everything dry. Oh boy, there could be some double entendre there. Anyways, um, right down to how they remained stuck on an incoherent canon since the turn of the century, the same path that's led to the latest depiction of X-Men in a horror-themed direction. We could honestly do without the yeah. So Avi again is lamenting, lamenting lamenting more horror comics being published, and we are gonna see that a little in one of the other articles as well. Anyways, moving on. Actually, I'm sorry, not New Avengers, Young Avengers. Yeah. All right. So, anyways, moving on to the next article here. Another Avi article published yesterday. Marvel. Okay, so it was Young Avengers, not New Avengers. Young Avengers. Marvel's Young Avengers was an early example of woke comics. All right, so let's. So, this here's Avi speaking again. The pretentious Tom Brevoort wrote on his Substack via comic book that back in the mid 2000s, when they first set about launching the direction stemming from the awful Avengers Disassembled, that when they first developed Young Avengers, they supposedly didn't like the idea Joe Quesada was involved in launching. But as it was, one of the early examples of what we now describe with the slang woke, quote unquote. So this is according to, I guess Tom Brevoort Substack entry here. So this is Tom Brevoort. I believe Alan Heinberg once alluded that there was some audience skepticism to Young Avengers initially before its release in 2005, which informed the framing of the first issue. Do you recall if Young Avengers was anticipated by dreaded anticipated or dreaded by audiences before it came out? Thankfully, at the end of the day, it was a beautiful success. Oh yeah, nobody liked the idea of Young Avengers before the book came out. Most of all me. I thought it was another dopey idea that Joe Quesada had come up with, but once Alan Heinberg was on board to create it, we came up with ways to make it work and to not have it be what everybody was dreading. This is entirely the reason why the first house ad we made up for the series, which ran in Avengers number 500, was focused upon the idea that they're not what you think, quote unquote. Interesting tagline there. And then now I'll be responding to that. No kidding. This was a series where Hulkling and Wiccan were a token LGBT couple, and they claimed this wasn't what everyone was dreading. On the contrary, if there was something else anybody with more common sense might have been dreading at the time, it's that this would be the millionth example of a team series where one or more members were coupled with each other, not with civilian co-stars. Now that I think of it, did Scarlet Witch ever have a civilian boyfriend? In parentheses, she was involved with Hawkeye, Vision, and Wonder Man. Unparenthesed. Did Quicksilver ever have a civilian girlfriend? In parentheses here, he was involved with Crystal. If not, that's got to be speaking volumes of a huge flaw in superhero team titles of the past. They built on cheap insularity rather than take the challenging path of creating civilian ladies and gentlemen to serve as the lovers for the superheroes and superheroines. Even writers who I most admire seem determined to just stick with the easy peasy notion of heroes dating each other. Yeah, and it does, in some ways, I would say it does kind of also bring about the idea of lazy writing because, there's that element of, okay, if the hero has, kind of like with Superman and Lois Lane, Batman and a number of his love interests, particularly earlier on, you know, you have that idea of the heroes having that aspect of needing to protect their friends too, and the idea of a criminal finds out who's interested in them, makes them a target too. Whereas if you're dating another hero, then there's no, you take that element out. Anyways, I do need to step away from the computer for a moment to give myself a little more light here. I'll be right back. I'm going to put some music on while I'm gone. All right, I'm back. Let's see, and I did see some. Alrighty then. So, anyways, let's continue with the article here. And it wouldn't be surprising if Quesada had anything to do with the woke direction Young Avengers took, which Braveheart and his correspondent gush about without offering any sales figures to corroborate the claim it was a huge success. Lest we forget, many editors can lay out certain elements they want an assigned writer to build a story and characters around. Even Braveheart may have worked out some of the PC cliches for Heinberg to go by in creating the cast for Young Avengers. And lest we forget, even if Young Avengers wasn't so woke, I'd still have been soured by how it all grew out of the directions that followed Avengers Disassembled, one of the most atrocious events, quote unquote, of the mid 2000s, turning Scarlet Witch into a scapegoat, and one of the worst stories of the time that brought down mainstream superhero comics. It would seem stories like Disassembled only exist as a shoddy excuse to introduce wokeness, and indeed, that's what both Disassembled and DC's Identity Crisis were intended for back in the day. I wasn't completely sure if Identity Crisis. I hadn't read it, so I'm not completely sure. But Braveheart, as main Avengers editor, was part of all that embarrassment back in the time too. So no surprise he'd be so fluff coated about the whole dismal affair, which Brian Bendis was the main writer for. I sometimes thought Braveheart was quite a boaster, and this certainly indicates he is. It's sad he was nearly really qualified. He's never really qualified for the job he unfortunately first got 35 years ago. So I guess Avi's telling everybody that Tom Braveheart's a braggart. All right, so let's see where we at on time. We've done 3 of the 4 stories there. All right, 36 minutes. So actually, we're making some pretty good time here. So I said these stories were kind of going fast tonight. All right, and here's the other story where I believe Avi will be lamenting the fact of, oh no, more horror comics are being published. All right, so anyways, let's get into this. So, Beetlejuice writers adapting Ice Cream Man comic. Article by Avi Green published today. So, Avi put up 3 articles in 3 straight days, or 1 article each, of course, 3 in total over the last 3 days. So, yet another horror-themed comic is being adapted to movies, as told by the Hollywood Reporter, produced by the writers of the Beetlejuice sequel. So, that was Avi right there. Now going to the Hollywood Reporter article here. The Ice Cream Man is ready to ring you up a scoop of suffering. Sony genre label Screen Gems has acquired film rights to the horror anthology comic book that was written and created by W. Maxwell Prince. Alfred Goh and Miles Millar, the creators of the smash hit Wednesday series and writers of the new Beetlejuice movie, are on board to produce the adaptation via their Sony-based Millar Go Inc. If he's trying to, I think he has ink spelled wrong there because it's usually C with a period, short for Incorporated. The company's Aaron Schmidt is also producing. Ice Cream Man serves up a range of horror flavors and genres, all threaded by the weaver of these tales, the titular character, who could be a friend or a foe, an angel or a devil. Artists Martin Morazzo and Chris O'Halloran joined Prince on the book. So back to Avi then. Quote unquote suffering is exactly what this amounts to. It seems like all they can possibly think of in Tinseltown now. And the way these news sources turn these projects into such a big deal is head shaking. It's enough to wonder if companies like Image have any humor titles to offer in contrast to this, or if Hollywood has any interest in seriously adapting them. So I think what Avi's complaint now is that they overdo the horror themed stuff, which we've talked about before. Let me see if you guys are saying anything about that. Actually, surprised you're not saying too much about it thus far because, let's see. But I guess Joe Quesada's opinion about Marvel comics being good is equal So why contemplate them? Uh, Actually, but maybe before. I guess there's some. All right. I think it's Toto or the dog. Yeah, from the. I think my chat broke. Let's see. Agatha makes so. Let's see. Toto is an artist that uh created Rain. No, okay. Actually, okay. Toto is two things there. Toto is Dorothy's dog from The Wizard of Oz. Toto is also a band that had the song called Africa, where they said, "I guess the rain's down in Africa." But he looks like Wiccan to me. Looks like Wiccan to me. Toto is Dorothy's dog from The Wizard of Oz. Um, Ooh, that's a good theory. Never heard of that character before. Let's see. Movie producers absolutely, obviously have the opinion more horror movies will sell. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Wiccan seems to most likely, I think, and he's a newish character. I like Toto being Wiccan. All right. So, anyways, getting back to let's finish off this article and then we move on to the next set of stuff. Let's see. But the saddest part is realizing that depending how the pendulum swings, this could sadly become a blockbuster like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street during the 80s. If that happens, it just confirms what continues to go wrong in both with both comics and movies. Um, Not that I entirely. I mean, I can. I see. I see Avi's point to a degree. You know, kind of an oversaturation of one particular genre. I don't necessarily agree with him though that we've hit that point yet, but I get the basic understanding of what he's getting at. So I do kind of get where he's trying to go with that. So. All right, so there we go with that. All right. So with that, now that we're done with the articles, now it'd probably be a good time to start talking about, getting the wrestling wrap up here. So let's see. So first off, we'll talk a little bit about TNA, the TNA news, Total Nonstop Action. Go back to last Thursday's Impact, kind of get you caught up on what Impact, what Impact did this past Thursday on Access TV. They continue to basically make they're having, of course, their shows prior to their upcoming TV tapings this weekend in Spartanburg. But as for the most recent episode of Impact, as I find that. On this last Thursday's Impact, coming from the Boeing Center at Techport Arena in San Antonio, Texas. The opening match saw the team of First Class of AJ Francis and Casey Navarro defeat Sinner and Saint, Judas Akiris, and Travis Williams. Rhino defeated Matt Cardona via DQ when basically Matt Cardona attacked him with a chair after Rhino had actually introduced the chair into the ring. This led, of course, to the arena going dark, and then all of a sudden PCO coming in to chokeslam Cardona. The newly crowned Knockouts World Tag Team Champions, Spitfire, defended their tag titles against NXT duo Carly Bright and Kendall Gray in just under 5 minutes. In a Texas death match, Mike Santana defeated JDC, getting some revenge, but then being attacked by Moose afterwards. And in the main event, which saw a mixed 6-person tag match in which Masha Slamovich teamed with the Hardys to defeat Tasha Steelz in the system after Masha had been getting blamed for losing the Knockouts World Tag titles by Alicia Edwards at last weekend's or the previous week's Victory Road pay-per-view. So, anyways, that's enough of that. Now, then moving on to Friday night. Friday Night Smack. Move on to Friday Night SmackDown. That WWE is edging ever so closer to the Bad Blood pay-per-view coming up a week from this Saturday. We'll look to SmackDown as they continue to prepare for Bad Blood, which is, as I said, a week from this Saturday. And also in WWE news, of course, they recently had signed another member of the Anoa'i family, Hikuleo. They're talking about. There's rumors that he'll be making his debut soon. Just don't know when. So the result from this past Friday's SmackDown, the show opened up with LA Knight defending the United States title against Andrade and retaining the title. Apollo Crews defeated Giovanni Vinci in just over a minute and a half. And a tornado tag team match, a women's tornado tag team match, Bayley and Naomi defeated Nia Jax, the current WWE Women's Champion Nia Jax and Timothy Stratton. In a 6-man tag match, Kevin Owens teamed with Street Profits to take on the Bloodline members of Jacob Fatu, Tonga Loa, and Tama Tonga, which ended in a no contest. So that's all that went down on this past Friday Night SmackDown. Now moving ahead, of course, to tonight's event. What you can look forward to tonight's Monday Night Raw. Actually, before I do that, let me go back real quick. Last night, by the way, last Friday's SmackDown came from the Golden One Center in Sacramento, California. So that's what I kind of forgot to mention there. On tonight's Monday Night Raw, coming to everybody from the Toyota Arena in Ontario, California, on the USA Network. Already scheduled on the show. Braun Breaker will be defending the Intercontinental title against Jey Uso. Sami Zayn will be taking on Ludwig Kaiser. So that's so now moving on to Saturday. On to Saturday's Collision pay-per-view as AEW is of course preparing for is making basically preparing for its upcoming Wrestle Dream pay-per-view coming up on the 12th, the following Saturday after Bad Blood, after WWE's Bad Blood pay-per-view. Let's see. All right. So, on this past Saturday's Collision, show opened up with a bunkhouse brawl match for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team champions Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara defended against the Undisputed Kingdom duo of Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, in which Guevara and Rhodes retained the title in the match. A match that, of course, was the brainchild of Dustin's father, Dusty Rhodes, the legendary, the late great Dusty Rhodes. One of the brainchilds of his creative mind. In a 6-person tag match, Hologram, currently undefeated in AEW, teamed with the conglomeration duo of Ring of Honor World Champion Mark Briscoe and Kyle O'Reilly, and they had Rocky Romero in their corner, taking on the Premier Athletes, in which they defeated them of Aria Davari, Tony Nese, and Josh Woods, who had Mark Sterling in their corner. In an eliminator match to try to earn a shot at the AEW Women's World Title, Lady Frost took on Mariah May, unfortunately coming up short in the match. Darby Allin, in preparation for his upcoming match with Jon Moxley on this Wednesday's Dynamite, putting up his number one contendership to the world title against Moxley. Darby Allin took on Evil Uno and defeated him in just over 5 minutes in a match in which was demanded for by Queen Aminata. Queen Aminata came out and demanded a match with the Professor Serena Deeb, in which Deeb defeated her. And then in the main event, in the 10-man tag team match, the grizzled young veterans of James Drake and Zach Gibson, teaming with Roderick Strong, Roosh, and the Beast Mordos, defeated the 5 men of FTR of Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, the Outrunners of Turbo Floyd and Truth Magnum, and Hook, FTW. Of course, in preparation, particularly for Hook's upcoming FTW title defense against Roderick Strong on next weekend's Collision. So now that's Saturday. So one more piece of course, news to look at real quick here. Mm-hmm. All right, so now let me talk a little bit about what's coming up on tomorrow night's NWA Power on the CW app. NWA, of course, the National Wrestling Alliance, currently run by Smashing Pumpkins frontman Billy Corgan. Okay, I guess they're not having. I guess they don't have it up yet here. So anyways, so that's of course all I have for you on the wrestling for the wrestling wrap up. Then maybe I'll have a chance to talk about the NWA tomorrow night. Of course, we'll have, of course, we'll give the results of the of Raw's results tomorrow. Talk about whatever news comes up during the day. With that, now of course, with today being Monday, September 23rd, 2024, let's take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. And tonight we have only a couple of items to kind of talk about tonight. So first off, 15 years ago today, on this date back in 2009, the fifth and final issue of American McGee's Grimm from IDW went on sale on this date back in 2009. So 15 years ago today, IDW, the fifth issue of IDW's American McGee's Grimm, which sold for $3.99 for 32 pages, went on sale on this date 15 years ago today, back in 2009. And on this date 5 years ago today, in 2019, on this date in 2019, both Hensuke, Are You Willing to Fall in Love with a Pervert as long as she's a cutie from Geek Toy, so Geek Toys and Suki on this date 5 years ago today, Geek Toys and Suki, Are You Willing to Fall in Love with a Pervert as long as she's a cutie, and Studio Dean's Kochoki Wakaki Nobunaga both completed their runs on Japanese television on this date back in 2019. So 5 years ago today, Geek Toys Hensuke, Are You Willing to Fall in Love with a Pervert as long as she's a cutie, and Studio Dean's Kochoki Wakaki Nobunaga both completed their televised runs on Japanese television on this date back in 2019. So let's see what you guys may be saying here. See if you guys have even been paying attention to anything I've been talking about or not, but I guess not, because from what I've been seeing. All right, so with that, I do thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I hope you guys found it informative. We'll be back with more Niche News tomorrow, of course. This Friday, I will have RJ Carter joining me, as we will be looking back at comics. Of course, we'll be continuing to look back at comics went on sale in March of 1940. This week, we'll be focusing in on Prize publication. We'll be looking at Prize Comics Volume 1, Issue 3, looking at such features as Power Nelson, Jupiter, the Master Magician, Storm Curtis, and Black Owl. Let's see now. So with that, let's see. And let's see what you guys are saying now. All right. So with that, I thank you guys for being here tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.